Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of this land. I said I only wanted to speak for 5 minutes, and that's all I'll need. Very simply, I thought about this issue. This hasn't come before council yet, as Monica pointed out. And I just have to say, in defence of Monica, Monica has been, I think she's done a really good job as the CEO of the City of Sydney. And she is very community conscious, so I think she will hear the message that's being presented at this meeting loud and clear. A couple of things that I thought about. Well, there's a very dense area. In fact, my understanding is the density of this area is the highest in Australia. So there's a lot of people here that have a lot of needs. In terms of public space, this would be one of the more poorly provided areas in terms of public space in Sydney, anywhere in Sydney. In terms of community facilities, we'd have a high need for those facilities here in Sydney. That property down there, I don't know what the sale value is. There's a number in my head, but I'd rather not say it because maybe I didn't hear this, and Monica tells me that she doesn't know what the proposed sale value is. Somebody must know that, because presumably the feasibility of this whole thing would be predicated on what it would cost and what that land would be sold for. So I'd be surprised if somebody in council hasn't done that exercise. And if there's anybody from council here that knows that number, I'd appreciate it now. Okay, but I don't think the sale value of that building is anywhere near the value of that building to the community. That's the point I'm trying to make. Heffron Hall is not in Potts Point. The Tabernacle building is not in Potts Point. There was a question, we call them Dorothy Dixes, where one of the Lord Mayor's team gets up and asks a question and the Lord Mayor reads a pre-prepared answer. There was a Dorothy Dixer asked about, I presume it was this flyer, and this flyer was described in that question as highly misleading. Well, I read the letter that the Lord Mayor wrote to Sasha Blumen, and she says in the letter, I quote, "Over 100 people attended the meeting." She's talking about a community meeting, and the overwhelming majority of residents, supported the following proposals. So if I read that letter, I'd say, wow, there's a lot of community support for these things. The Lord Mayor then goes through many of the things that Monica went through: the upgrade of the Tabernacle building, Heffron Hall, 15 new places at the Franz Newton Childcare Centre, an extra floor in the library in Darlinghurst Road. And then we get to the sharp end, improvements in programming services at Mary McDonald and Juanita Nielsen. And then the sharp end, of course, is transfer of some programs out of Reg Murphy. And then the next paragraph said, the needs analysis and planning indicate that with the significant expansions identified above, the Reginald Murphy Activity Centre would be surplus to community needs. Well, if I read that letter, to be honest with you, I'd think that that's what the council was planning. I don't know about you, so I really find it difficult to see how this is a misleading leaflet. And I think the point of this meeting is, the whole point of this meeting is, that this is a clear indication of what's being contemplated by council staff at least, and the community wants to talk about that now. And so I think this has great validity, this meeting, and I think an important message has been put across. Just to finish off, it seems very simply, I don't support the selling of this building. The Greens do not support the sale of public assets that are valuable to the community. Full stop. This happens all over Australia at state and federal levels. I don't want to see it happening in a council that I'm participating in. I'd rather see that building upgraded, and if there is development potential in that building, I don't want to see that go into the pocket of a private developer. Not that what I want to see it used for is something for the community. For example, if we were to redevelop that building and there is development potential, what about some affordable housing? You know, I don't know how many years it is since the City of Sydney has built one unit of affordable housing, but plenty that's been sold off, and that's certainly not due to Monica, I can say. But you know, that's one area we need to look at. Maybe this is an opportunity for us to start that. I checked with staff on the use of that building. It's after a bit of conversation with the staff, I think our mutual assessment is this would have medium to heavy use. 3 nights a week it's booked for regular programs, lots of weekends, lots and lots of times that building is used by the community. There's lots of people that live by themselves here, already acknowledged at this meeting today. There's lots of old people live in this area. There's lots of creative programs that we could come up with to use the facilities much better than they're being used now. So I'd rather us put our resources into working out ways that we can serve the community better than figuring out ways that we can sell that asset off to fund facilities in another area of East Sydney.
Here.
So, having said all that, I support the upgrade of Heffron Hall. I support the upgrade of the Tabernacle building. My understanding is that those are not funded, those projects yet. So these are a wish list. There is no budget allocation for these programs. But if Reg Murphy is surplus to our requirements, let's build all the other stuff first. Let's do that first, and then at the end of that process, let's come back to the community and say, well, gee, this area is hardly being used. What can we use it for? I think that's the approach that I would support. Thank you.